Hi guys, I'm Rebecca and this is Birch Moon Farm. This weekend I got to go to the Homesteaders New England conference that was in New Hampshire. And this is something I've always wanted to do since we started thinking about homesteading. It's probably 8 or 9 years. So recently I saw that there was going to be one in New Hampshire. I signed up as fast as I could and I was able to go. All kinds of cool stuff, you guys. I'm going to show you a little bit of what everybody's got here. There's some homesteads and farms with all kinds of goodies. Do you mind if I video you and the stuff? Okay, good. Can you kind of tell us who you are and what you got here? Really pretty soaps.
Oh, thank you.
Really pretty soaps. I have a YouTube channel.
Oh, awesome.
So,
very cool.
Trying to share all this and how much fun it is. And, oh, these are really pretty. And I like your...
If you want to smell any, feel free. There are sample bars to smell. And then you are welcome to open the lotions and smell those as well.
I do. Ooh, this is baby soap.
Yes. With the exception of this, the pet soap for the bougie pet in your life.
Oh, nice.
And then the ducky soap. Everything else is goat milk based. And
nice.
We're Good Karma Homestead. We live right here in Greenfield.
Oh, nice.
And we have a very small homestead where we have goats and chickens and a horse and a couple ponies and all the things. But we make... Yes.
You have a horse too?
A horse and two
the ponies.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we make goat milk soap and elderberry syrup. We started making goat milk soap when my son had really bad eczema as a baby, and everything we put on him, it just triggered it. So we started making it, and it just spiraled.
And that totally helped, though?
Totally helped. Totally helped. It was, and we haven't used anything else in years. So we started off with just the basic honey and oatmeal, and then kind of just started playing with scents, and almost 12 years later, here we are.
12 years.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thank
so
you.
Is it, you said it was from your own goats?
Yes.
That's fun.
Yeah, we have an alpine dairy goat, and so everything is used with her milk, and we use essential oils and real flower petals and herbs and things for scents, so there's nothing.
Well, with a name like Good Karma, you better.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. It was
You're
so
very
nice to
welcome.
meet you.
It was nice to meet you.
Let me take a look at some of the other stuff.
Absolutely.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Hi. Do you mind if I put you on the video too?
I'm gonna do
Your hair is pretty cool.
Wonderful.
Oh, look. Peppermint.
If you want to smell anything, feel free.
Eucalyptus. Ooh, this is pretty.
I hear you.
Frankincense and myrrh.
Coming over like on purpose, thinking they're bars. And then I like see them.
Ooh, look at this, you guys.
So
They're offering lemonade, like real lemonade. How pretty.
Well, I grow all of this stuff on our half-acre homestead, and we do a lot. We have meat rabbits, and we alternate years for meat chickens and meat turkeys.
Oh, nice.
We have about 30 free-range laying hens.
Nice.
We have vegetable gardens and herb gardens. We have a squash garden. I'm working on building a mushroom garden.
That's pretty good for a half an acre.
It's really it's all about maximizing the space and knowing where the sun goes.
Definitely. And what's your name?
My name is Amy.
Hi, Amy. I'm Rebecca.
With the Wildheart Farm. It's nice to meet you, Rebecca.
Very nice to meet you. Birch Moon Farm.
Good to, excellent.
Yep. Thank you so much.
You're
This is
very
really cool stuff. Yeah, you were... We have 5.5 acres, and pretty much all I've got at this point is silky chickens and geese.
Yeah.
Haven't quite figured out how to do the other stuff yet.
Well, one thing at a time. We add 1 or 2 things every year. That's it.
Yeah.
And we've been at our house now for about 8 years.
Oh, nice.
And we just add 1 or 2 things every year because otherwise it's overwhelming.
Could you tell us your name and basically what your farm does?
Awesome. Yeah, my name's Amanda Cannon. We own Autumn Frost Farm in Mason, New Hampshire. We raise forest-raised Berkshire pork and pasture-raised chicken. We also do turkeys and layer hens. We started out on a tiny little 3-acre plot and doing it just because we wanted to know where our food was coming from.
Yeah.
And we've just slowly grown. We just actually relocated from New Ipswich to Mason in order to expand because we needed some more land, and we bought a 260-year-old farmhouse.
Holy mackerel.
It wasn't set up to be a farm. It hadn't been a farm in over 100 years, but we've spent a couple months really getting it going, and it's been fun and exciting.
How many acres is the new one?
So the new one's 522.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're pretty excited. It's part of it's on conservation easement, which is awesome for agriculture because it helps protect the land.
Yep.
So we went out, we had a conservation plan put in place, we had a forestry plan put in place, and we got going. It's really been a great, fun, exciting thing to do.
And how long have you been doing it?
So we've been doing the farming since 2015, 16, somewhere in there, and we've been at the new place for about 6 months.
So still pretty young.
Yeah. So
and you're doing great?
We're doing awesome.
That's awesome.
We're growing, we're networking with other farms, other people in the community. It's really what farming's about is community, and that's what we really love most about it. That and knowing where food comes from.
Yeah. You know, it was super interesting meeting all these homesteaders, seeing what they do to help support their homesteads and how they present it. That was really cool. I thought that it was really helpful to think of, all right, what else can I do to support our homestead? You know, one of the things I struggle with, and I'm wondering if a bunch of you guys struggle with it too, when you just try to do something that's sustainable and learning those new skills that would make that possible. And I have to admit, there's a little bit of fear there. There's a fear of failing. There's a fear of, what if I mess it up? And what do I got to do to like fix it? And what if this happens? And what if that happens? So sometimes I just have to jump. And going to this conference, I feel like it's given me some confidence. I needed some of those little step-by-step things to make it feel not so scary that I'm going to try this stuff. Now, I really got a lot from this guy. I'm going to put his information down in the description. He was talking about seed saving. And he was also giving information on paying attention to the plants that you're getting the seeds from. You know, if you have a virus on one of your plants, you don't want to take that because you are passing that genetic material all the way down. So the seed saving, now I feel like I at least have somewhere to start. And I can start saving a lot of our seeds.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.
Okay guys, this is Tom from McMurray Hatchery.
Okay.
Editing's good. No, it's fine. And he is one of the most wonderful hatcheries. I have kind of been a stalker of them for a long time, but as you guys know, I have stuck with the silkies and kind of been in the silky breeding group, but he has given me a lot of information today and I wanted to share that with you guys. So Tom, can you explain what your company is?
Yeah, so McMurray Hatchery is a 105-year-old chicken hatchery, and we started officially in 1917, but it was before that with Murray.
Wow.
And he was a show breeder. He showed lines, and
nice.
So we have state fair ribbons hanging up in the hatchery from the early 1900s.
Wow. I don't think a lot of people really know that about you.
And so we were a rare and exotic breed hatchery. We weren't, yes, we carry a lot of the, the typical lines, your Rhode Island Reds, New Hampshire's, Barred Rocks and stuff. But we also carry Lakenvelders and Silkies and Sultans and Crivacores, Yokohamas, like that you're not just going to find in your backyard in flocks. So
right,
these are very
kind of exotic,
lines.
more exotic.
And between 30 and 40 of those lines we've carried for 100 years. So we've been the curator of these. It's not even I don't even consider them ours. Like my goal is to pass them on to another generation.
Yeah.
And so that's what I consider what we do. We're curating. We're preserving these as they were, as they are, and doing the best that we can with that. So
yeah. So really, your main focus is to. Do you have a lot of of heritage breeds?
Yeah,
and
we have all the heritage breeds I can get my hands on.
I know. I was gonna say I was just going through your book, and
so,
I don't even.
There's a few that I've kind of I need to get, but
Yeah.
from a
And a lot of your focus is
that heritage breeding poultry.
Yep, but improving your flocks, improving, your breeds and stuff like that, and making sure, of course, they're healthy and stuff like that. I know all that about you guys.
Yeah, so if you take good care of your hens, not only do they lay more eggs, but they lay healthier chicks, and when you're hatching chicks and when you're putting them in the mail, that health, that vigor is the lifeblood of it. So
yeah, exactly.
Birds, so.
Excuse the noise, I have a little girl who's singing her egg song. So the next part of my video, you guys, is basically the main reason that I went to this Homesteaders conference. And it was because Morgan from Wildheart Farm was speaking. And what he was speaking about was how to tell your farm story. He is a very masterful storyteller. I loved this. This is exactly what I needed at this point in my YouTube channel. I only filmed a little bit of his talk because I really wanted to be present and absorb what he was saying. So I'm going to share a little bit of it here. And I hope this gives you a little bit of a taste of who he is and his storytelling. And then if you want to see a little bit more, I'm going to put the link to his channel down in the description, and you guys go take a look and let me know what you think.
One of the things that me personally, this is what I look for is to build a community, and because no matter what you do, you require the support of your community, and the community requires you to support it. And so when we look at things to sponsor and places to go, it's like, how do we help build up, our values in a community, and be able to reach out and to be able to help grow what's really important to us, growing chickens, and growing your food, and, growing your knowledge. So never stop learning. There's so many things that we can take on, within the homesteading, even just backyard gardening. It doesn't really matter. There's a lot of opportunities here to learn, and we're gonna learn from Morgan. I'm really excited. I've not got to meet Morgan. Until today, I'm fangirling. I'm looking forward to this too. So,
thanks, Tom. Seriously, a big shout out and thank you to both Tom and to Jack and everybody. It's so cool to be able to be here in New England, hanging out with folks, talking about this stuff, and really come together as a community. I think. Oftentimes when I've ever gone to conferences in the past, I'm going to go to Virginia or Missouri or other places like that, but to be right here in the backyard, it's I'm super stoked. So thank you to everybody putting this on. Big round of applause. And I want to say thank you to you guys coming out. I'm shocked that there's a bunch of people hanging out who want to hear and talk about some of this stuff today. And just being here and hanging out with you guys has been so cool. The conversations we've been having have just been awesome. I'll be here too afterwards, hanging out. Come say hi. I have buttons. I bought a bunch of them. Who wants a button? Button. Button way in the back. Whoa. Careful, don't stab yourself. I have a whole bunch more too. So seriously, I brought them because, when I first started our farm, and this goes back about 4 years ago, so spring of 2018, I was having this dream of I wanted to raise ducks, and I was working a job at the time, and I was doing some stuff that I wasn't loving. I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. And yeah, see, this is the before, this is the after. And so I had this dream of getting some ducks and being a farmer, because I'd been watching farmers on YouTube. I'd been reading books by people like Joel Salatin. I was seeing, oh wow, this is how you can produce food. This is what it can look like. This is great. It doesn't have to be this awful industrial production model. You can really care about the animals that you raise. You can do all of this. I was so inspired and motivated. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna do this, how am I gonna make money doing this? And so I knew that I had to figure out a way to sell my duck eggs, because my first business ever was doing ducks for eggs. And so I said, well, since I know how to operate a video camera and I can actually edit a video, let me try to like document my experience of starting this farm. I know nothing. I'm not smart like my buddy Justin Rhodes. I have none of the experience of like master gardeners or master poultrymen like Tom. Like, I don't have these experiences, but I know a lot of other people are interested in trying to do this too. And so if I just show me going through my experience and try to document it as honestly as possible, maybe people in the end will want to buy my duck eggs. Like, that was the whole theory. That's like how I got started, was just doing that. What I didn't expect and realize is that in telling your story of your farm, you actually create a powerful connection with people, which, regardless of what you want to do, whether you want to have a business selling duck eggs, or you just want to tell your relatives, yeah, here's why we got our own little flock of ducks and here's why we're doing what we're doing right now. Being able to tell that story is a really powerful thing. And it builds relationships, it builds connections with people, and it can change your life. And I would say, for me, it changed my life. Like, literally 4 years ago, the idea that I would be a full-time farmer in Vermont, like, is completely unfathomable. You actually go back like 6 or 7 years ago, people who know me from back then, like, are completely baffled by it. But because I was able to tell a story, I feel like I've been able to get to where I am today. And so what I want to try to do today is talk to you guys about telling your stories, because it's not just about one person's story coming from one perspective or one background. I think you actually create a super powerful movement when many people, look around this tent, look at everybody in here, think about each of these folks telling their story, talking about what they're doing, showing what they're learning, showing why they do what they do. That, to me, is how you actually make a change in the world. And so what I want to do today is give you guys some tips on how to do that, how to tell your story, regardless if you want to be a YouTuber and have actually a YouTube channel and go that route, or be a TikToker and go that route. Or, like I said, you just want to be able to share better what you're doing on Facebook with your friends and family. I want to kind of give you a perspective on that. I'm going to talk for a little bit and share some things that I've learned, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers, and I'll just keep taking as many as you got, and we'll just keep going back and forth, because I want to give you guys specifically as much value for your personal situation. You know, whether you just built a chicken coop for the first time and you're having that experience, or you are passionate about the art that you create, or whatever you're doing, like any of those things, I want to be able to help you tell that story. So that's what we're going to be focused on today. So, like I said, telling your story can do some powerful things. Number one, it increases the visibility of your farm. So if you're trying to run your farm like a business and you want to ultimately even earn some side hustle income from it, or you want to make that your main focus, being able to market your farm is going to be the biggest challenge you have. When I first started thinking about having a farm, I was just like, oh, I just need to learn how to grow this, or I just need to learn how to raise this. I thought that was like the challenge of agriculture. You just got to figure out how to do that thing. What I realized very quickly is, no, you need to learn how to market this. You need to learn how to sell this. There are many, many farmers out there across the country who produce food for commodity markets, and they're good at what they do. They're excellent producers. They know what they're doing, but they don't know how to market and sell it. And so they're forced to actually take the price for whatever kind of vendor is willing to work with them. And so the difference is, if you can tell your story, you go from being a price taker to a price maker. You're creating the market for you by doing that. If you can tell your story, if you can give people a reason why they want to buy your duck eggs, or why they're interested in your alpaca wool. Like, if you can create that interest, you've done something powerful, and that storytelling can be the tool. Another thing is, it adds credibility. You know, think about it. Anytime somebody ever tells you about a farm, or you go to a farmer's market, and you say, oh, what are these people all about? First thing you do, pull out your phone, pull up Instagram, you pull up TikTok, you're like, well, what are they all about? What are they doing? Having that credibility, having that presence will help you in the marketing of your farm products. And then it can bring in new business and sell things. You know, for us on our farm, last year we made about $7,500 in net income from our farming operations. That's not anything to do with sponsorships or social media or anything like that. That's just pure profit from raising ducks and geese and chickens and trees. And so that all came from customers who were willing to give us money to buy our product. How do you inspire and motivate that? It's through telling your story. And this probably the part that like almost is going to make me weep openly as I'm sitting here in front of all of you today. You can inspire other people too. Like just the couple conversations I've had with a few of you today, right? The things you've said to me where I'm hearing that, oh, you got ducks because you watched our videos, or you got a livestock guardian dog because you watched our videos. Like, you guys have no idea what that actually means to me to hear that. And I realize that that is a product of me telling my story and connecting with you guys and motivating others. And like I said earlier, having the ability to motivate that change and make that difference, I think that's how you make the world a better place. I think that's like one of those like little secrets they don't, I guess they tell you, but I never really focused on it until recently. But I think that's super, super important. And then finally, it creates meaning for what you do. You know, when you raise animals, when you have a farm, when you grow vegetables, when you do things, there's a lot of hard work involved. And I think many of you are well versed in that experience. You have wins and you have successes, but you also have failures. Like, think about that failure. Gosh, where is he? The young man who was telling me earlier today about the fact that he had some quails, and the quails got attacked by a mink, and the mink killed all of his quail, or most of his quail. The idea that that happened is sad. It's heartbreaking. It's tragic. But to know why you're doing what you're doing, and have the meaning behind it, and have the story that you're telling yourself, that matters. I mean, look, there will be days when it's negative 20 degrees outside and I got to go break up ice to give water to ducks and geese. I don't want to do that. But because of the story I tell myself personally, I'm motivated to pop right out of bed and greet the barn cats and greet the guard dogs and do it all because I actually personally find meaning in that story. So like I said, even if you don't want to be a YouTuber, even if you just want to be off in the woods in the middle of nowhere, knowing what the story that you're telling is and how you're telling yourself that, I think is a very, very powerful tool. It will keep you motivated. It'll keep you doing it. It'll get you through the hard points in all of this. And it just makes the world look... It paints the world in kind of rosier glasses. And I think that that's a fun place to be. And so encourage you to think about it that way as well. Now I want to talk about good storytelling. I could probably spend 4 hours just talking about storytelling in general and all the important things about it and all the considerations. I geek out on this stuff, like big time. I could talk about stories forever. But I want to introduce you to a concept that comes from a writer by the name of Kurt Vonnegut. Show of hands, who knows Kurt Vonnegut? All right, got about half of you maybe. So Kurt Vonnegut, an amazing science fiction author that I probably read when I was way too young as a kid and has always been one of my favorite writers. He actually gave a speech back in the 80s called About the Shape of Stories. And essentially, his point was, if you look at any story that's out there, there's a shape. That shape is ups and it's downs. And it's ups and it's downs. Maybe you're going all the way up, and then maybe you drop down. All you have to do is Google Kurt Vonnegut Shape of Stories, a YouTube video will come up. I highly encourage everybody here to watch it. You will learn a lot about good storytelling just from that. Like, think about it, Cinderella. You have a girl who's low. She's got her evil stepsisters. Things are bad, but things start to pick up. She gets the fairy godmother. Things go up, things go up, things go up. Then it's midnight and bong, bong, bong. She has to leave. Her pumpkin carriage is gone. Everything's gone down. It's horrible. So she's now down at a low. Actually, I think it's charted right here. But then the prince comes with the glass slipper and he says, "Oh, are you Cinderella?" Boom, off to infinity of happiness, and everything's back up again. Good stories have ups and downs. A good story has its low points and its high points, and it often goes back and forth between the two. And if you want to engage an audience, if you want to inspire people, if you want to motivate people, you got to be willing to share these points as well as these points. Who here's seen like somebody on Instagram, right? And it's like all you ever see are all the pretty pictures, and it's like, wow, that farm looks beautiful. And wow, I wish my farm would look like that. I really love it. But do you actually really love their farm, or just are you jealous of what they're doing? Because they're not showing you the ugly parts that sit behind it. They're not showing you the 50 pictures they probably also took and then retouched in Photoshop and like didn't look quite as good. And so you don't have as much of an emotional connection with people who are creating content like that that's all beautiful versus, like, say, some doofus who doesn't know what he's doing and does something stupid with his cattle yet again and screws up and he's running across the field trying to catch him down, or he happened to kill his bees over the winter and does something dumb. Like, that's actually more interesting to watch. That's a story that actually matters. It's not easy to share though, I'll tell you that. It takes vulnerability. You have to be comfortable with recognizing and acknowledging that you are an imperfect person. And each person here is an imperfect person. And I think that's what makes people beautiful. The more comfortable you are with acknowledging it, talking about it, and showing your screw-ups, the deeper a connection you're going to foster, and the more you're going to bring people along for their story, so that when you have these high points, and you have these wins, and you will have these wins, it actually matters for people too. And so showing up that up and down, if there's any tip I impart on you today, that's the one that I'd encourage the most. You know, I would even say like personal screw-ups that I've had. So who here is aware of some of the drama that I've had with my puppy Abby? Okay, most people, all right. So I have this livestock guardian dog, Abby. I got her back in the winter. My dream was to have a dog that'd be a Maremma livestock guard like my dog Toby, and ultimately I tried to breed the two. Now, I've never been a dog breeder. I'm inexperienced, so much like everything else I'm doing on my farm, I'm learning on the fly, and I'm going through that process and kind of figuring out how to make it work. And I got some bad advice on, some characteristics with Abby, and I just also had, some bad blood with the breeder, and there was like drama that went on. And I started talking about it, and the breeder got really mad. And I realized, oh gosh, I probably shouldn't have said that, because, look, this is her livelihood, this is what she does, and here I am effectively insulting her by saying, oh, this was a bad situation. That's me out of love. And that's me showing that and me acknowledging it. But then, as I've been working with Abby this summer, I gotta say, she's been evolving. And so while she killed a chicken, and she's been rambunctious, and she's been hard to train, and I made the decision I wasn't gonna breed her, she's actually starting to have a redemption arc. She's starting to go up here. She's going in the right direction. She's making progress. That does not mean she's perfect. That does not mean it's all said and done and she's living happily ever after. But as I document what happens with Abby and showing it, I've made myself comfortable with the fact that I'm going to show myself screwing up with training her. I'm going to show myself misstepping with, the breeder. I'm going to show what's going on here. I'm going to be transparent with you guys and bring you along on this roller coaster ride. But the ups and the downs and the roller coaster of life, because in the movie Parenthood, right? They're talking about that's what makes it all fun and worth it. If this was a video, I'd play that clip right now. I mean, that's just how it works. That's my weird brain. and so, as you guys are thinking about your own farms and your own places and how you're documenting it, the more you can show those ups and downs and the from to, that's going to be a more powerful story for folks than anything else you can do. Be very careful about only showing the downs. Be very careful about only showing the ups. You got to show both, because that contrast, that's the shape of a good story right there. Let's talk about the elements of a good story, because every good story is going to have these things. Even if you're just talking about your chicken coop that you built, or you're talking about your quail that you're raising, you're going to have some thoughts around how these pieces fit together. What's your setting? This one's actually usually pretty easy. For me, I'll just kind of fill it in for myself here. It's my farm. I don't do a lot of videos away from my farm because I actually want to make my farm the focus of the story. That's where the story takes place. Yeah, occasionally, today I showed a video where I go to the fair to see my bull calf, like that type of thing. I'll show that. I'm not gonna I can never shoot anything off the farm. But I know that most people are watching my videos because they want to see my farm and what's going on with my farm. So I focus it on the farm. If you're thinking about your personal Facebook feed and you want to get your friends and family hooked in on what you're doing with your farm, my suggestion would be focus it there. If you're one day you're this and one day you're that and one day you're this and then you're bouncing around and doing a whole bunch of stuff, I think it's actually much harder to create a connection with the setting for folks to really bring them into the story. Characters. Recognize that if you're telling your story, you are taking yourself from being a three-dimensional person with all sorts of thoughts and feelings and ideas and all these things, and you have to characterize yourself. That word characterize is an important one. That doesn't mean you need to be a caricature. And there's a difference between characterize and caricature. But you do need to find a way to help people identify who you are, what you're all about, what you care about, what you don't care about, your personality. Like, the more you can bring those things to life, again, showing that you're human, the more people are going to actually connect with your story. Also recognize you should not be the only character. If it's all you all the time, it's going to be one of those things where it's hard for people to see what happens in some of these other elements that pop up. And I'll say this, one of the things I realized very early on, if you go back, you can do this on YouTube, they're still up there. You look at some of my old YouTube videos, it's just me talking, and I'm just talking, and I'm just talking. How many YouTube channels do you guys see where it's just somebody talking, and they're talking, and they're talking, and they're talking? They're not interacting with anybody or anything, they're just out there talking. How much of the character are they, what other characters are they interacting with? Like, that's part of the beauty of it. Look, I live in the second least populated state in the United States. I live in the most rural and least populated corner of that state, and I live in a town of roughly 700 people. There's not a lot of folks around. Most of my videos, I'm the only human that appears in my videos. And so what I've had to realize is, I do have characters around, I just have to bring them to life for folks. And I've realized very early on that for me, personally, it was interacting with my animals. Toby dog, the barn cats, the ducks, the geese, the cattle, the chickens, recognizing and appreciating them for who they are, it helped me tell a better story. But I'll also tell you, it has a fringe benefit. I have such a deeper connection with my animals than I ever thought I would. And it's because I started to think about them as characters versus actually just, it's just a chicken. I don't know, that's a chicken. Like, who here knows Margie the murder chicken? All right, got a couple of people. All right, so Margie the murder chicken was one of the first chickens. It was the first chicken I ever hatched. So I'm sorry, one of the few chickens on our farm that wasn't a Murray McMurray. I got some eggs from a neighbor. I tossed them in an incubator, and I hatched my first chickens. I ended up successfully hatching 6 chickens. They were like Americana-ish, barnyard cross. And I raised them up. I was really enjoying having these chickens. It was kind of fun. I was raising chickens because I discovered recently I was allergic to duck eggs. And so despite the fact that
I would love to tell you guys that I was acting so cool meeting him, but I wasn't. I nerded out.